Hello, you are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you can find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today we are celebrating the 45th anniversary of the Alien franchise. Afterwards, be sure to subscribe to be notified when future episodes are released, and show your support by liking and leaving a comment. Thank you for joining. Happy April 26th, everybody. We made it to the end of the week, and I'm just glad that it's Friday. Not only it being Alien Day, but just the end of the week. We just finished the work week. I get to have a nice time out with some friends. I'm really excited. But we also got some announcements for Alien Day. They put out a trailer, like a little teaser announcement trailer for what looks to be a VR game, Alien Rogue Incursion. Now, after the game Alien Isolation, I think this has a really good potential to being a good game. Now, VR, a little iffy for some people. I'm not the biggest VR fan. I think that the tech and the games on it aren't really quite to where I would expect or really want out of a product to buy. But for some people, it is. And I'm excited to see what it looks like in the future. No gameplay at all, but Alien is one of the greatest settings you can have in terms of a survival horror type of scenario, space sci fi. It would be amazing. Now, I think there might have been some Alien games with VR in the future. Maybe Isolation had a VR patch or mode or mod, certainly. And I think that taking what went well in Isolation, more so like the stealth, some of the crafting, and even some of the AI portions of the Alien could be really well. I wouldn't want to see this be too much of an action-oriented game just because, it says Alien in the title, so I don't think Aliens is really what we're going to be getting out of it. But that's just, what I'm hoping for is something a little more keen to Isolation and not like your third person VR kind of shooter type thing. Now, we've had a bunch of other Alien games. Dark Descent has been on my to-do list for quite a while. I got to the intro, like the first mission, and it's just a difficult game. You have a lot to manage. I'm trying to do as much as I can in the game, the side quests and collectibles and stuff like that. I haven't really given it my full endeavor yet, but sometime in the future I do plan on that. Alien has been one of my favorite franchises to date. And even if some of the more movies that they've come out with, or even the acquisition that Marvel had and some of the newer comics and stuff, don't really hit the same way, I'm just glad that we're getting more Alien stuff. We're also getting the Alien Romulus teaser movie whenever they put that out. I saw an article about talking about when it takes place. I think it's probably sometime around middle between Alien and Aliens, and it's about like 20 miners or so on some colony. Allegedly, that's what the article said. But I'm excited. There's more aliens, seeing what they do with, CGI and the action scenes. Personally, I really liked Alien Covenant because Alien Covenant had pretty good action and some gore, which I thought was really needed in some of the Alien movies. Some of the themes for that would be show don't tell, like Alien, but we all know what the alien looks like, the xenomorph. We all know that. We just want to see more of it, and I liked Covenant for what it was. Just a nice little action movie, a little spooky in some places, and it was really cool just seeing the xenomorph be on screen. So I'm just excited for that, for Alien Romulus, seeing more xenomorphs. And that's how I'm looking forward to spending the rest of my Alien Day. Let me know what you're doing to celebrate today or the weekend. Are you watching the Alien franchise? Are you playing some games, reading some old comics or novels from it? Maybe their adaptation and crossovers with Predator or Archie or something or whatever they have. Alien is a big franchise and it is inspired, caused inspiration for so many different people. And later on in the episode, I'll be talking about something that certainly influenced Alien or Ridley Scott creating Alien and Aliens. But before that, we have a few things to talk about when it comes to movies. I did see the trailer for the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, and that looks really fun. I think that the dynamic between the idea of the people playing these characters with Hugh Jackman reprising his role as Wolverine and that legacy behind that, and of course Ryan Reynolds just being Deadpool is always wacky. I'm excited, and I think it's probably the nice twist that Marvel movies need nowadays. Just something new and exciting. And it's probably the last one's ever going to be good ever again. And we'll probably never get anything that's going to be worthwhile to some point. This obviously does play into the current series of Marvel stuff. So season 4 or phase 4, phase 5 stuff will play into here. So if you caught up on Loki, obviously you might want to do that because that's going to play into this movie. The Timekeepers and all that stuff are in here, or the Time Society, whatever they're called. And I'm excited to see what kind of X-Men movies they reference here. Is it going to be only the live action ones, the trilogy, the newer series, the Fox stuff, or are we just going to get maybe some of the new animated TV show stuff? Are they going to tease some of that for this movie or show off stuff? I know people have been talking a lot about the X-Men 97 show. I haven't got a chance to watch that. It's just been something that I'm going to try and watch when it's all finished. I think it's probably almost done. They're at like 7 episodes now, so they're probably close to being done. But that's on my radar sometime in the future. I've been falling off a lot of Marvel stuff recently just because it's just a lot to keep up with, and I'm not really all that keen into superheroes right now. So maybe I'll get back into that later on. Um, I also did watch the movie Late Night with the Devil, which was, not what I was expecting. I was expecting something a little more upfront and like cohesive of like a horror story, but it plays out more like an anthology in some regard, like a full play on the Twilight Zone in a lot of ways. And it was still fun. It had a lot of fun, cheap scares, very reminiscent of some scenes and stuff like Aliens and Alien, things like that. It had some fun moments like that. And I liked it. Waiting for Shutter movies to come out is actually pretty convenient. You don't have to go to theaters and stuff. So kudos to that. That was something that I actually enjoy is watching movies at home, rather than going to the theaters. People talking about how that's becoming a big change nowadays, but it's just more convenient. I pay $5 for a movie here or whatever, and I don't got to pay any more ever again. I'm never gonna watch the movie, you know. When going to the theater is a hassle, going out there and then dealing with snacks and other people in the seats. That's a whole hassle, I don't think theaters are gonna be, you know, prominent later on. Obviously, the culture is gonna be super there. Alien is in theaters again. You see that a lot. The Final Fantasy Advent Children movie was in theaters. They just put like The Thing in theaters sometime last year again. A lot of movies are returning to theaters. Even the Spider-Man Marvel movies, they keep coming back. I don't think theaters are going to go away, but I definitely think new movies in theaters are going to be a much smaller kind of thing that we see coming in the future. So yeah, that's it for movies, just what I wanted to talk about for this week or so. But to stay on topic for Alien Day, I've been a big fan of tabletop RPGs for a while, and I try to support any Kickstarter that I can when it's, involved in a property that I enjoy or the system seems really engaging and fulfilled and complete. So, sometime 2020 or 2021, a company known as Tuesday Night Games published that they're going to be doing their Kickstarter of their game Mothership. They had like a soft launch previously, but the Kickstarter really just kind of solidified it as like a product to be sold. And so I backed it a while ago. I backed the deluxe edition. You get a small amount of goodies on top of the standard stuff, but that just came in the mail yesterday or 2 days ago, and I want to talk about it because it definitely ties into Alien. Mothership is a sci-fi horror tabletop RPG, and it takes so much inspiration out of the best that sci-fi has to offer, from Alien, The Thing, Event Horizon, and Doom. I mean, so many things that have come out since the 80s or so that just influenced science fiction and horror, tabletop RPGs, not to mention. And they put it all together in this lovely package of its own original like setting. There's no hardcore, you know, lore or rules that you have to follow for this. You can create your own space sci-fi horror series with using the tools that are given in the game. They do a lot to simplify creating your characters and creating the campaign in general, along with following the rules. It's all streamlined into small, easy to read books where like every space on the page is utilized so well. The art, while magnificent, is minor on these books. It still looks great, but it's the layout that they have for these books that I think really shines because they make it so intuitive for you to just go in, understand what you're looking at, and take it out. You can copy paste it if you have a PDF or just snapshot it, and it's easy to understand. Some tabletop books are not really organized in a way that I think is friendly to the consumer or easy for anybody to just pick up and especially learn and then go back to in the future. I always have little tabs and notes and stuff on the side of these books to reference the pages. So the Kickstarter box looks great. The deluxe edition. It comes in this beautiful black and gold, uh, medium-sized box. Everything fits inside there. It comes with a survival guide, operations manual, a SIP breakers toolkit, and a contacts report book. These are like your standard booklets that you get for tabletop games, your rule book, your character stuff, the ship builder stuff, and like enemy books. And then we get like module stuff, scenarios, which is another bug hunt, dead planet, a pound of flesh, and gradient descent. These are about 50 so pages each with a whole bunch of additional materials for you to create and set up your games with your players. It comes with a warning screen, double-sided poster, heavy cardstock pond, which I thought was super nice to include, like physical little miniature toys to use, not like Warhammer statues or Lego pieces that you got to build or anything like that. But these are just like little cardboard cutouts that you pop out and you plop them on little plastic standees, and you can use them as like physical representation of your players and enemies. Love that. And it's really simple, really cheap. So obviously it brought the price down a lot compared to models that would have to be, molded and painted or whatever. So I liked this, and they're black and white, so it's super easy on color. And then it also comes with D100s and D20s, which is really great. This is a D10, D100 system for the most part. I think they use a D20 every so once in a while just for critical hits and stuff. But yeah, since it came in the mail, I was kind of planning to maybe doing an unboxing video for it, just to some degree. And it being Alien Day, I think it's a great time to talk about this. There is also an Alien RPG, which you can just go and buy. That's much more geared towards a Alien type setting in that franchise with its own kind of rules and stuff. So go check that out if you really want. But talking about Mothership, I think this is such a more well created system for people to just pick up, as well as utilize for any system that you want. You can make your own thing, scenario, event horizon, your own original horror, space, sci-fi adventure. And it's just one of the coolest things that I've seen that could come out in the RPG space. So yeah, in the future, I definitely plan on running a game involving the Mothership system at some point. Maybe I'll skin it over Dead Space. I've been dying to do that ever since I replayed the remake, so that might be up in the future. Now, besides Mothership, Roll20 is becoming a activity on Discord. That's a pretty cool update, in my opinion. I was never a big Roll20 person, but I usually play all my games on Discord with friends and through Start Playing. So I think Roll20 being integrated onto the Discord app will be super convenient and helpful and enjoyable for all of us. So I'm really looking forward to that and them doing their beta, I think on the 30th of April. So that's going to be pretty cool. And right now I'm still playing that Elder Scrolls 5th edition D&D game with my friends. I'm playing a level 5 Khajiit monk named Jadato, and we just finished exploring Skyrim, returning to Cyrodiil, which is pretty cool. And I don't know where we're gonna go. It might be Hammerfell or elsewhere. I think we're coming up to. We spend quite a lot of time in these countries. A few sessions. We play once a week, and it's been fun. These tabletop games are extremely fun. One of the coolest pastime hobbies that I've ever had. Now, besides Elder Scrolls and Bethesda stuff that's not Fallout, let's get into the true meat of this episode, and that is Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. Now, this is not the first Robert A. Heinlein book talked about here on the podcast. Previously, I read his A Mood as a Harsh Mistress, which is still sci-fi, of course, but that is much more of like a political, like trade, society issue book versus the Starship Troopers, which is a much bigger commentary on, I think, obviously at the time it was written in the 50s, people were getting, mixed up in, or the American politics was getting mixed up in external affairs to some degree, and the people weren't really all about that. So Starship Troopers as a book, it plays heavily onto the idea of the military industrial complex and how our military works and how it was written with the idea of the Americans in the 50s, but it's set in a future where humanity is like united. So that kind of camaraderie you get as humanity versus one enemy, you see that very prominently in this book. The book itself it comes off as a coming of age story in a lot of ways. You follow this naive young character, Johnny Rico, as he, deals with, in some forms, not necessarily being indoctrinated, but you have the school system and society to a degree telling him to do his part and serve, the humanity and serve in the military to become a citizen and gain like full citizen status to some degree, and you get perks with that, with like voting and stuff. So he's a young boy who's being warped to thinking that joining the military is a good idea for a cause that is for humanity. Now, in the book, they're fighting insect bugs. They're fighting alien bugs. Now, that's very easy to equate to like here on Earth with us waging so many countless pesticide wars and the bugs here. But in the idea of the book, these are intelligent bugs. They can do things like attack us, and we see that as a true actual threat. So humanity is certainly skewed towards it when it comes to their hate and their idea of these bugs. You get a lot of different types of fiction with this. Ender's Game is a really good one in my opinion, where you see the remorse of a character who commits genocide towards the end, and you don't see the remorse in Starship Troopers. You don't get that. There's no remorse for killing bugs here to any degree. It's do or die, them or you type of deal. Now, there's nothing in this book that hasn't been said or done before to some extent, but you can definitely take a lot from the book and apply it to modern times with how, it was written by an American, so you can apply it to American politics and its current state of its military regime and to some extent the external countries and that. But to me, I think the idea of a global, united humanity to fight any kind of threat, just against any type of obstacle, that kind of blissful utopia, that pipe dream that we might be able to have one day, that's what is one of the coolest things to me about science fiction, because it's what you would want out of humanity. It's what you would want as like the end game for us, which like once we get over all of our petty border squabbles, our personal belief issues, whatever anybody looks like or does in their free time, all those issues that we have with each other, once that's all washed away and we decide that we need to start upholding each other, protecting each other, you know, I think that's going to be a very different outlook for humanity in the future. But we don't have that right now. We have the idea that we are so segregated and separated that any notion of us working together is just never going to happen, and it's infeasible. But I don't believe that. I like to tend to believe myself as an optimistic in terms of that kind of ideology. But Starship Troopers, at the very least, shows us that just one thing, and it's that war works to a fine degree. It does work. To get what you need done, you need to have the people able to believe that they're going to win or they're doing it for a good cause. And Starship Troopers is really just that. It's getting these young men into, the boot camp and the early military industrial complex like ideas, getting them into that mindset, and then making sure that they make it out alive and get the mission done. We wouldn't be here. This country, this world, to some extent, wouldn't be here without that same kind of belief system that we've had forever. And they use that in the book. And I think that's really good to look at. It's really important that we remember that the people who choose to serve, they're just the same. They're either brought up in a family that served, in a culture that served, or they see that the country that they're in is not in a good state, and they want to do something to make it well again. And joining a military branch or getting into politics or something like that is a very noble way of spreading your beliefs and spreading chains. I like that. I like that. The book also centers on camaraderie. There's a lot of good friends that Johnny Rico makes throughout his career in the military service. People that he's known for years. He's fought alongside with years. You see that. There's also mistakes made. people in leadership positions make decisions that get people killed. That is a very real topic. And I think that it doesn't shy away from that. And military books shouldn't shy away from that. These are very real situations. Yes, this is a book about fighting giant space bugs in space, but the same can be applied here in the world. You know, we are fighting so many countless wars decade after decade, and it's not going to stop, you know? So yes, I loved reading this book for the first time. I was a fan of the movie when I was watching it growing up. I loved to see it, and I watched it again today, and it holds up just as well. They add a few scenes. They, put a little more context to a lot of stuff, like how the bugs fight and traverse, and how specifically, I guess, humanity or the military views the bugs. It's the bugs are very like minor piece to the overall story. It's certainly a story about joining the military and being integrated into that culture and how that culture can change you. Certainly. But the bugs take a small step back from that. What this reminds me of is a small science fiction book called The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. And this is the same premise. Humanity goes off somewhere across space to fight an alien species. But what happens is that human spaceships can't travel as fast as some science fiction uh, writers make in their worlds. So when we travel in the Forever War, we lose decade. Like you'll travel from Earth to wherever the battle is happening, and that travel time, for you it's like mm, 2 weeks, 3 months, but for people on Earth you've been gone for 50 years or something. You've been gone for 100 years, 20 years. Not even to count the trip to come get back. So you're a young man and you join up on this military service to go fight this far away war. And everyone you know and love, by the time you get back, whether or not you live or die, by the time those people, those soldiers get back from the front, 50 years, 100 years on Earth has passed. Everyone knows you's gone. Everyone you have ever known is dead. The world is completely changed. There have been wars, there have been famines, borders have changed. There have been so much changes on the earth that you just come home to a different space. And that's probably true for, modern times. I'm sure people have come back from the world wars and the Vietnam War and Iraq and have seen, even if a few years have been changed, it's a significant change for some people. I think that's a real thing. And that's one of the coolest things about fiction is that it takes all of those realistic ideas and melds them together into one cool thing. Forever War is one of my favorite books, and reading Starship Troopers has just made me want to go back and read that. Something that got me to get back into Starship Troopers, besides being a Robert A. Heinlein fan and liking the movie, was I kept seeing things online for the video game Helldivers 2. And I finally caved and I purchased the game. And I tried it out online, and I had a blast playing that. I mean, it works. I don't think I disconnected from a game more than once last week when I was playing over the weekend. I don't think I had the game crash or disconnect or anything. Now, what I say is that this game isn't like worth $30. I wouldn't say that. I kind of wish it was free to play. I think this game should have been free to play. It has a battle pass and all that stuff, But I paid money for it. It works, obviously, and that's great. Playing with your friends is so much fun. There's a good amount of mission variety. I wish there was a little more. Maybe like a better survival type mode or something like that. But overall, I'm having fun with this game. I wish there was vehicles. Vehicles would be pretty cool, especially on some of the larger map missions, stuff like that. And then I'm looking forward to the newer enemy races that we're gonna fight. It was funny to me because I was about to purchase Helldivers 2, and I was thinking, wasn't there a Starship Troopers game that came out like around Christmas or so that just kind of never popped off? And it didn't. It didn't pop off. That's a little sad. Maybe I'll give that game a try if it's ever on sale at some point, because that would definitely be fun. But Helldivers 2 has been a blast so far, and I'm certainly looking forward to whatever they add in the future, because this has scratched that itch for a nice kind of horde-based team game to some extent. If Gears of War, horde mode, and Halo Firefight come to mind when I think of things like that. Zombies, Call of Duty, So Helldivers 2 has definitely scratched that itch. I don't know if I tried the first game. The first game's certainly more like a top-down arcadey uh, kind of game, but overall, I've just been having a blast with Helldivers 2, and I hope to see you guys online so that we can kill some Terminids and some robot bots together. That'd be really fun. So if you guys are fans of Helldivers 2 or Alien, go check out Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein or watch the movie. There's like 6 movies. There's like 2 animated movies and stuff like that. So definitely go watch them. There's a few animated ones as well. You know, it's nice to see movies that have like an actual idea and an identity, like these military movies. I love them. I love military movies. Fury, Saving Private Ryan, Black Hawk Down, Hacksaw Ridge. They're all great. There's not a single military movie that I don't enjoy because they're all just so harrowing. To be in that kind of position, you know, there are some strong, brave human beings out there that choose to put themselves in those kind of situations day after day as a career. That's very commendable for somebody who's sitting here talking into a microphone, you know, doing not that. I'm not doing that. I'm not fighting foreign entities or bugs from space. I'm not doing any of that. So yeah, for Alien Day, I'm telling you to go read Starship Troopers or watch the book or go play Helldivers 2. As long as you're killing alien bugs in some way, that's all I care about. Last thing I want to talk about today is something not, alien or space related. It's actually a lot more to Earth, a little below Earth, actually. Under the sea level, some might call it. I'm talking about Dave the Diver. And this is again that I've been seeing for a very long time. I've tried to not see so much of it just because I've always wanted to try it. I am a sucker for fishing games. Fishing mini games in any game is my bread and butter. Stardew Valley has a great fishing mechanic. I love doing it in Final Fantasy 14. That was always fun, just, building up your fishing skill. So when I saw Dave the Diver, I was like, I need a nice chill game. Just a nice game to relax in and play. This game is a little hard, a little difficult. You have to manage a lot. I did not know that you had to uh, pretty much own and run your own sushi restaurant when you made this game. I literally just thought you just dove, I didn't know there's any cooking involved. But you play Dave, and he dives for fish. You catch the fish, and at night, you use the fish to make sushi and sell sushi, and you serve it to customers, and you rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. There's a plot. Its plot is relatively involved towards the gameplay. You kind of have to do it to progress in some regard, but I'm loving it. It's been really fun playing on the PS5. Right now, I'm trying to make the device that lets you talk to the sea people. That's not much of a spoiler, but that's what I've been doing. And I hope to finish the game this weekend. I want to see the credits. I did the squid boss fight, so I want to see what the bosses they have coming up, which is going to be really fun. Love fishing games, and Dave the Diver definitely scratches that itch. So I'm just dying to get back into playing that again once this episode uploads. Now, besides, video games and the books I'm reading, I've been trying to gauge what I would be doing in the future for the podcast. And, I've never read a comic series for this show. I've never, picked a comic book to just sit through and read. And I'm in the middle of quite a few right now. I'm definitely in the middle of The Boys, and I don't know when I'm going to finish that. Certainly closer to when season 4 of the TV show comes out. So I was in a comic book store over the weekend with my girlfriend. I've never been in the comic book store, and it looked really nice, really clean, well kept. The workers were really nice and really generally good vibes out of a comic book store. Love that. So they had like a little bundle of single issue comics of Batman Black and White, the 2020 run, I believe. It's only about 5 to 6 issues, and the bundle I had 5 issues. So what I do plan on doing is reading that for next week's episode at some point, and reading through all the issues and talking about the first Batman comic on the show. I like Batman. Batman's a cool superhero. I think a lot of his comics, they aren't the greatest because there's just so many of them. There's so many Batman stories, and I know there's been a few runs of Black and White. Like I think there's 4 or 5 total, including the one I'm gonna read. So I'm excited. It's always nice to go back and seeing what's being done with superheroes in a more modern time. That's just my thing. I'm not a big single issue kind of person, but I definitely want to give it a try. I just want to get back into a comic book for a bit. And to that extent, I want to extend to you as the viewer. Tell me which comic books I should read in the future. If there's something that you want me to read, put it in the comics. Maybe I like it. I read quite a few. I've read a handful of DC comics, Marvel comics, even some Image comics. You know, what I do plan on doing though is some point getting through the Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring comics. I know that they have a few of those of each coming out, and I just want to catch up and know a little more about the lore. Um, I know almost nothing about Dark Souls lore entirely. Bloodborne, I understand it because I played the first game, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Elden Ring, I probably the same as Dark Souls. I don't know as much, and I think there's only really one comic manga series for Elden Ring. But I plan on once this episode comes out, putting a poll on YouTube and seeing whichever ones you guys would like me to read first: Dark Souls, Bloodborne, or Elden Ring, because it's just the comics that I chose to get back into. The more modern comics like DC and Marvel, I'm not necessarily, keen on reading, especially like keeping up with them issue by issue. I certainly would just prefer to pick a series or a run and then just do it all in one go, start to finish. So in the future, you guys can definitely look forward to that. Be talking about the comics for one of those franchises, whatever one ends up getting voted on, and I can read in a fastable time. But I am excited to get back into Batman because the Batman RPG came out a while ago. That's always been cool. It'd be nice to get some inspiration for Batman stuff. But he's just a very simple superhero to understand. He's just a dude who is really trying to crusade himself against the evil dark side of Gotham. And I like that. You get a really lot of cool stories with that. And from the first issue of Batman Black and White, it seems pretty cool. So yeah, for then, I think that calls it for today. That's been all I want to talk about. Alien Day has been nice. It's always been a nice time celebrating Alien Day, going back and watching the movies again and doing, just celebrating the franchise in some way. So, like I said before, let me know what you're doing to celebrate Alien Day. Are you reading Starship Troopers? Are you watching the movies? Anything involving Alien? What are you doing? Let me know. This has been episode 33 of the Gamer Librarian Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for updates on future episode releases. Leave a like and comment on what games and books I should talk about in the future. Thank you, and see you next time.